Okay, friends, we're continuing with the entire assembly process. The night has passed, so I think the silicone gasket forming paste for both the timing case and the oil pan is practically cured. So today we can do the leak test to see if the problem with the leak-proofness of the cooling circuit has been solved. So, the next step is to raise the front axle carrier and secure it to the chassis. That's done with 4 bolts, 2 on the right side, which are these, 2 on the right side, 2 on the left side. It's an E14 torque wrench and they're tightened to 100 N. I have the torque wrench right there. They're tightened to 100 N, so I'm going to get down there. I'm going to use the jack to help me support the carrier and raise it and such. Let's see if it fits well. I've never done it before and I'm a little afraid of it because, for me, this is the final and most critical part of the repair because once I have the engine back in place and everything in place, the rest is reassembling and reassembling. We still have to remove the cylinder head once we've done the leak test because, apart from replacing the valve seals, we have to put a new gasket on it because, as we removed it to check if it was a cylinder head gasket problem or not, once a cylinder head is lifted, the gasket has to be changed, no matter what, even if the other gasket is new. The gasket and the gasket bolts that are already there have already been replaced. So that's it, but that's work. It's not as demanding as this, which, well, here alone in the garage at home with how much it weighs and all, well, it gives me a little respect and that's why I have all the possible safety elements so that there are no problems. If you have to do this, I always insist on putting a lot of thought into it. If you're not sure what you're doing, it's better not to do it and have a professional do it for you. And if you're going to do it yourself because you want to do it, go ahead and use all the safety features. Safety is very important. Make sure everything is double secured, well tied. Well, here I have the superimposed axle stands, super secure so that the car doesn't tip over if it's on its wheels there, which would support it. The engine is anchored here, well anchored and such. There we also have that strap that holds 500 kilograms, holding the bridge just in case. The jack for the bridge. In other words, be very careful. Okay, come on, I'll put it underneath and see how difficult it is because removing it meant unscrewing it and having it fall. But now we have to adjust it and now that this gives way like this, let's see if we can find the screw holes correctly, because sometimes it's complicated and sometimes it's not so difficult. Now we're going to see how complicated it is or not. This is simply by raising the bridge a little by hand, which was logically hitting the air conditioning compressor. So that it doesn't get in the way, what I'm going to do now is put the air conditioning compressor in its place so that I can remove the crankcase cover once it's removed, fixed and put back on. And so we can put the compressor in its place so that now when raising the bridge it doesn't cause any problems. We also had this connector here that the cable came through here below. I'm already putting it on. Now I have to tighten it. Okay, now it's tight. And these were 2 screws, this one here, the one below and this one on the side. I'm going to tell you which part they tightened. Well, I'm already down, okay? I'm already on the side, now I'm on the driver's side, left side. With the jack, we've raised the bridge a little bit. I have to let this be like this, so that it can move a little. Do you see? And here I find, you can see that the hole doesn't fit. There, but I can move it. I don't know if you can see or not that it can be moved. You can move it with both hands and then the little hole will fit. Okay, come on, if I put one in, everything will start to fit quite a bit. This first one went in a little without any major problem, looking at it a little. And now we have to go to this second one that you see, the hole fits more there. If it fits, I'm going to leave them all halfway in so that I can put them in properly and bring them closer together and then finally tighten them to 100 Newton meters. Come on, I'm putting this one in. I'm using the impact wrench, okay? Electric, which is much easier. Okay, I've already grabbed the first ones by hand, and now with the impact wrench. It went in without any major difficulty. So now I'm going to the right side and if I put these 2 things in, The only thing left for me to do when lowering the engine is to square the engine mounts well here in this hole, tighten it well to torque. The tightening torque, I repeat, of these two is 100 newtons and the engine mount screw is 35 newtons. In total, 4 screws at 100 newtons and 2 screws at 35 newtons, one on each side. And well, here I am with the torque wrench tightening it to 100 newtons. All 4 at 100 newtons. Now it's time to. Now I can lower this jack, I don't have to push anything else. And it's time to lower the engine and screw it there in its engine mounts. Let's see if it matches, and then the most difficult part that I feared, would be done, and in the end it turned out to be very easy instead of very difficult. Okay, so once we have tightened the 4 bridge bolts to torque, which are 100 Newton meters, and we have been able to remove the jack, the next thing is to do. And the pulley is also removed. The next thing is to lower the engine to match up. You can see the holes for the engine mount with the engine mount. I was thinking about seeing if it was necessary to change the engine mount, but they are not new. So spending €80 each when they are new is also silly. So I wanted to take advantage of the fact that everything was already visible and super easy to change, but it is not necessary. Okay, well, let's go down with the cranks, the engine, and see if we can square it up properly. I lower the engine a little and I see that without further ado, it seems that the hole fits perfectly, there is nothing else to square up. So let's try to put it in. And if so, I will simply leave it superimposed, and remove the engine crane completely so that we can then tighten it properly to torque. Okay, just like the first one was squared, I had to raise it a little, lower it a little, push it a little here until it was squared. It's squared now. So now I'm going to finish loosening it all, and I'm going to go down, and I've finished tightening them to a torque of 35 N. Well, once we've lowered the engine and removed the engine support bridge, I go down and tighten the 2 engine mount bolts to 35 N. Okay. Well, here I have it at 35 N. Okay, the other one too. And that's it. Now I have to put this little cover here that I removed with the 2 big bolts here that I had to know the tightening torque, and the one below would be there. Okay, well, after tightening the ones on the bottom of the Torinos, we've now tightened the one we had left here. Okay, now we're going to tighten the 3 of the air conditioning compressor that are tightened to 20 N, then we're going to put the wheels on. The 5 wheel bolts are tightened to around 150 N. We lower the car and fit the crankshaft pulley. And then, oh, no, before lowering the car, what we're going to do is fit the crankshaft pulley, and then we'll fit the starter motor and then lower the car. That's what we're going to do now. So come on, now tighten these 3 bolts on the air conditioning compressor to 20 N. Now it's time to fit the alternator pulley, put it in place. Since it has a little tab, it's very simple. It didn't cost me any work at all. I simply placed it. I put a little bit of W203 on it, very little, where it makes contact with the crankshaft itself, and, with both hands, like this, fitting it in a little without using force, just trying to fit it up, down, this, that, and there it is. So, now it's time to put this bolt in, and what is more painful, to the corresponding tightening torque. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of lithium grease here and there and see if we can find the torque. Okay. Well, now we've put copper grease on it, let's put it on. We have to tighten it to 200 Newton meters, which is viable in principle. Then the trick is the 90 grams, which I'll paint with the tip to get to the right point. For that, the flywheel has to be blocked with this blocker, okay? I haven't removed it since I put it on to extract the flywheel, the crankshaft pulley. Okay, I'll put this on by hand first and then tighten it with a 27mm socket. Let's see if I can do it. Well, I've already set the torque wrench to 200 Newton meters. This one is really good. Tens tools. I recommend that you buy the set with the large ratchet, small ratchet and medium ratchet. I have all three here. They work great. Pierre recommended it to me. And since I bought them, I've been delighted. They're a little more expensive than the cheap ones, but the quality-price ratio is exceptional, so I recommend them. I'll leave a link to buy them in the video description. Also, if you buy them through the link, you're helping to maintain this channel. I'd really appreciate it. And that's it, come on, 200 new. First step, 200 new, because I don't think I'll have any problems at this stage. The problem is going to be the 90. But anyway, let's get to it. Well, I already have the 200, okay? Look, I have the 200 there. Now I have the 90 left. Now I have the painful part left, which has to be done very carefully with a big crowbar. But come on, let's try. Well, look, I've already marked this. Let's see if I can light it up. See, here. Sorry, I can't record it any other way. I've already marked it there. The start of the 90GR and the end of the 90GR. So when the little corner is pointing up, there we have the 90GR. I haven't been able to get a longer lever. What I've read in the forums is that you need at least a 2 meters lever, and this one isn't even 1 meter. I would need a longer one. I haven't been able to get it. So, well, I'm going to try. That's how we have it. And if I see that I'm not able to do it with this lever, then tomorrow I'll try to get one of these tubes that are 40 by 40, 2 meters. Come on, let's give it a try and see if we're lucky. Well, look, after a lot of effort I've moved it, but I haven't managed to make any progress. I would have made progress, you don't have to look so much at the white part, but at the little corner. I must have made progress, it doesn't even reach 45 GR. I have just half left. And I don't know if I'll be able to do it with this white part or not. I'm going to keep trying. Let's see if I'm lucky. Well, this one is only 75 centimeters long. I'll see if I can get something of at least 1.5 tomorrow. Okay, I have 45 grams left, but that's really hard. Either a big lever or I can't do it. In any case, I'm going to lower the car. I'll raise it again later. So I'm putting the tires on, the wheels, which are at 150 NS. Come on, let's put them on. Well, before putting the wheels on, I wanted to check the condition, the thickness of the brake discs to see how much life they have left. When new, they have to be at 25 and the wear limit is 22.4, okay. That is to say, the entire useful life of brake discs they have to have a maximum wear of 2.5. Okay, I measured it and mine is at 23.5, that is, it has suffered a wear of 1.5 millimeters, it still has 1 millimeter left. In other words, it could have like, I don't know, 50,000 or 60,000 kilometers or something like that, approximately, I would say. So changing them is silly. I was thinking of changing them, but changing them is silly because they still have a lot of kilometers of useful life left. It's just that right now they are like this because they have been exposed to water and it has been a long time since they have been driven or braked, but they have 23.5. Brake chips, as you can see, are practically new. So the only thing that needs to be done with the front brakes is to completely change the brake fluid, but that would be fine. And the front shock absorbers, for me, have also been changed already. These Bilsteins here don't say Mercedes, and I understand that even though they use the original Bilsteins, well, they have 300,000 kilometers, they had to be changed by force. What we don't know is when they changed these last ones. It doesn't seem to be too bad, huh? The ones that I think are a little softer are the ones in the back. You can apply much more force to the bottom of the car. I've already moved it quite a bit more. I'm going to see how much I've moved it. I might have a little bit left, but what I did was lower the car. You hear me talking like this because like before I almost fell and such, and I don't know if it's going to break or such. I even put on my motorcycle helmet just in case. Yes, I'm exaggerating a bit, but if that breaks or such, the most fragile part is always the head. Okay, I think it's almost done. Well, look, I think it's done, huh? Do you see? The important thing is not where it is painted, but the tip. See? And the tip is already pointing to the white, so I consider it good. It's just that I moved it quite a bit once it was underneath. I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't want to ruin anything. And I consider it good. Well, let's remove the tool and fix the flywheel. Done. Tomorrow. Well, I can leave putting the, what do you call this? The starter motor for when I have to go up to do the rest of the things. So that's it. I'm going to put the water pump on now and I'm going to overlap the thermostat to do the water tightness test. Let's see if the fix stops the water leaking.